might have taken it for that, and either that or in the schoolhouse. All right, so it was probably taken in Jagat's house. All right, anyway. Today is a very special day in the Vaishnav calendar. It is the commemoration of the disappearance day of Shripad Madhavendra Puri. Okay, more bugs, thank you. So, we're going to chant, hopefully I'll try to chant, the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas before class. Yayanilo prema dhanha korana prachur Henu Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kahamoras Saruprupa Kaha Sanatan Kakadasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kaha Bhatta Yuga Kaha Kaviras Ekakale Kotagela Goranataras Pashane Kutivo Mata Anale Pashibo Goranga Gune Radnede Kota Gele Pabo Se Sabha Sangira Sange Ye Koilo Vilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotam Hodas Jiyanilo Prematana Corona Prachur Jaya Madhavendra Puri, Jaya Madhavendra Puri, Jaya Madhavendra Puri, Jaya Madhavendra Puri. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paramahansa, Natashi Shima, Divine Grace Sabaya, Charana, the Bhaktivedanta, Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anandakoti, Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Friends say, Ekaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shidwaita Gadadha, Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shishi Radha Krishna, Gopi Gopinath, Sayam Kunda, Radhakunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai. Jagadasami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai. Shrimati Lasadevi Ki Jai, Samavita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda, Hari Bo. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Budle, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami, Namani Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharni, Nivashesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Dejatarni. So I will read the translation of this poem written by Narottama Das Thakur. He who brought the treasure of divine love and was filled with compassion and mercy. Where's such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhattam? Where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. So, Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmeditam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So today we are commemorating the disappearance day of Sripad Madhavendra Puri. So, here's the story of Madhavendra Puri, and if we finish with this, we'll continue with the Chaitanya Charitamrita, talking about the Shikshashtaka prayers. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered Madhavendra Puri to be the source of the symptoms of ecstatic devotional service in conjugal love within our sampradaya. And Lord Chaitanya said, before that, no one in our sampradaya understood the intricacies of ecstatic love of Godhead. Of course, there were other people like Jayadev Goswami and other people who wrote about the ecstatic love, but as far as in the Madhva Sampradaya, Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So, Lord Nityananda personally met Madhavendra Puri in Western India while Lord Nityananda was on pilgrimage waiting for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to start his different pastimes. And as soon as they met, the famous story we read recently in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, they embraced each other, rolled on the ground, and for hours they were unconscious. And their followers and disciples didn't know what to do about this. And they spent days and days, and they were friends. Actually, it's mentioned Lord Nityananda is a disciple of Lakshmipati, who is the Puri, who is actually the spiritual master of Madhavendra Puri. Sometimes that's mentioned. Sometimes it's mentioned he was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. But anyway, so Madhavendra Puri said, "It's only after a long time that I have met a friend like Lord Nityananda." So they had a more friendship relationship, and they spent hours and hours and hours discussing Krishna consciousness. So Madhavendra Puri was served very, very nicely in his final days by his disciple Ishwara Puri. And Ishwara Puri served him so nicely that Ishwara Puri got the benediction of being the guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you can contrast that with another disciple of Madhavendra Puri named Ramchandra Puri. Ramchandra Puri did the opposite as far as serving his spiritual master. He opposed his spiritual master's mood. And what was the spiritual master's mood? His spiritual master's mood was the mood of intense separation, vipralamba. He said, "Oh my Lord, I have not reached Mathura." And Ramachandra Puri advised him, "Therefore you should meditate on Brahman. Don't lament. Brahmabhuta prasanatma nasochati nakangshati. Samak sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param." So, then there's a beautiful story about Madhavendra Puri, which was actually heard by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from his spiritual master, Ishwara Puri. So, this story was related by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reached this place called Remuna. Remuna is the place where there's the deity of Shira Chori Gopinath. The story of that deity is interesting. That deity was supposed to, at least according to the legend of the temple, that deity was supposed to have been carved by Lord Ramchandra. Because when Sita and Ram were in Remuna, Sita Devi asked Lord Ram, "What do you look like in the Dwapara Yuga?" And Lord Ram promptly took out one of his arrows, bow and arrow, well, actually arrows, and on a stone he carved this relief deity. Relief deity means it is three-dimensional, but there's a stone back to it, like a bas relief. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was visiting Ramuna and taking darshan of Shira Chori Gopinath, the flower crown from the deity fell on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's head. And then Lord Chaitanya told the story. Once upon a time, beautiful story about Madhavendra Puri. This is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita and other literatures. Madhavendra Puri was wandering around and he reached Govardhan, Haribol. And he spent a lot of time at Govardhan. It's interesting. And he would circumambulate regularly, bathe in, it's not mentioned that he bathed in Radhakund, it mentioned he bathed in Govindakund. See? And he was on the highest level of sannyasa course, that's Paramahamsa, and he didn't make any endeavor for food. Not only did he not make an endeavor, but he didn't even ask anyone. Like when the Parvajakacharya and with Madhukari, he goes around door to door and he asks, can I have a slice of pizza here? Can I have a pakora there? Right? Yes? No? Rotis. I know, yes, rotis. Nowadays, of course, that's why the sannyasis, the Tridandi sannyasis generally have this cape. It's to collect donations. Nowadays, they don't need it so much. They just need a swiping device in the mobile phone. The cape's not necessary. So, anyway, so he wasn't eating. And he didn't care about it. I mean, how many of us are like that. I mean, when I go traveling, I probably spend 2 days before packing food for me, so in case I won't starve during the 8-hour plane flight. So he wasn't eating, and so this young boy came with some milk or kheer, and the boy said, "No one fasts in our village. Here, you can have this." And so the boy was actually quite attractive. Of course, you can guess who he was. And the boy left, and then Madhavendra Puri that night, he had a dream, because he didn't sleep. Devotees, pure devotees don't sleep. And in the dream, the boy revealed that he was Krishna. And he took Madhavendra Puri by the hand to a specific bush, and he said, "I have actually been placed here because the Muslims were attacking, and therefore the devotees had to hide me because the Muslims would smash the deities." Actually, I was just reading a report the other day about, oh my God, I don't know if I should get into this, about the dome in the rock, what it actually was. And anyway, not going to get into details in class. So that the Mughals had a habit all around the world of destroying other people's religious items and temples and churches. So anyway, so Madhavendra Puri, when he came back to external consciousness, he called all the villagers together, and they came with their scythes, and they went into the bushes and they found the deity. And Madhavendra Puri had also been instructed to worship the deity on top of the hill. It's interesting. And so Krishna in the dream told him that my name is Gopal. And I was installed by Bhadra. Bhadra is Krishna's great-grandson. And many of the deities in Vrindavan, at least the original deities, were actually installed by Bhadra. They're this black stone. You've seen that? Black stone deities? Like there's several, like the Nrsinga. Some of you may remember the Nrsinga deity at the tail of Govardhan. And then also inside Anyora, there's this beautiful Dauji deity. He's really tall. Krishna's really tiny. And these are actually these black stone deities, and these are the deities installed by Bhadra, Krishna's great-grandson. And so, anyway, Madhavendra Puri took the deity along with the villagers to the top of Govardhan Hill. And they had a giant festival in which they worshipped the deities and gave the deity an abhishek. It's described there were 900 pots of water from Govinda Kund, and also Panchagavya, means the 5 products of the cow, Panchamrita, of course, Prasadam. And Madhavendra Puri initiated pujaris so they can continue the worship. So again and again and again, the ceremony was held for many, many, many days because there were different villages. It's interesting, if you go to Braj now, you'll see that there's a lot of, there's organization of different villages who come at different times to Govardhan. And generally, they're coming on the back of tractors, like some trailer pulled by a tractor. It's actually quite sweet, and they're all chanting and worshiping Govardhan, going around the hill, and many of them do Dandavat Parikrama around Govardhan Hill. So for 2 years, Gopal was worshipped like this. And then Madhavendra Puri had another dream. And in this dream, Gopal complained, "I'm hot, and I need something to cool me down. So you need to get some sandalwood." So he thought, well, Jagannath Puri is the place where they have sandalwood, from the Malaya provinces, but actually Jagannath Puri, they had a whole stock. So Madhavendra Puri went towards Bengal, and on the way to Jagannath Puri, And going towards Bengal, he ran into a great personality named Advaitacharya. And he initiated Advaitacharya. Interesting. Then he entered Ramuna, where the deity of Shirachora Gopinath was or is, and he asked about the offerings that Shirachora Gopinath was. Of course, the deity wasn't known as Shirachora Gopinath at that time. He was known as Gopinath, just plain old Gopinath. And because later on he got the name Shirachora. So it was explained to him that Gopinath was offered this Shira, which was unlike anything else in the three worlds, and he was given 12 pots on, I'm not sure if it was every offering or once a day, but anyway, 12 pots of the Shira. And the interesting thing about the Shira, it's made from the cows that are living right next to the deities. Actually, it's almost part of the deity room. Anyone's been there? Anyone else been there besides me? No. There's the deity room, and then in back of the deity room, of course, there's no opening, but it's the same structure. There's like a rectangular structure that's divided in two, and the cows are in the back. They're so close to the deity. The deity, Krishna loves the cows so much, he wants the cows to be with him. Very interesting. So anyway, and this Shira is quite amazing. I mean, even I took a little pot. The pots are about this big. And it was just enough for a whole meal. I wasn't hungry the whole day after taking it because there was so much bhakti in there. And we had one devotee with us who actually dried up the Shira and kept it for months. And was eating a pot every day. Like Madhavendra Puri, of course, was eating pieces of the pot that were given, that were utilized when the little boy gave him some milk or Shira when he was at Govardhan. So, and also Madhavendra Puri, we'll talk about eating another pieces of pot. So anyway, what happened is Madhavendra Puri thought about it. I said, I want to taste this. And the reason he wanted to taste this Shira is because he wanted to copy the recipe. Instead of asking for the recipe. He wanted to copy it by tasting it. So, and he became ashamed. Because actually it's considered an offense, not on the part of Madhavendra Puri, but if someone was thinking of the offering and thinking of eating it before it was offered, that's, in other words, practically it's not offerable if someone lusts after it. It's described that even if a lower creature comes and sees the offering, then the offering is not offerable. So one has to be very careful when they're cooking for the deities to not think, oh, can't wait until this is prasadam. Of course, sometimes in someone's private home, the little kids will actually come up to the parent and say, is it prasadam yet? But that's not offensive on their part. But those of us who are serving Radha Golokananda shouldn't be thinking like that. And that's why also we don't taste and we don't smell like that, the food sauce before it's offered. We just concentrate on pleasing Krishna. We are cooking to please Krishna. I am not cooking to please my own senses. I mean, it's a little bit different with one's home offerings. Of course, you shouldn't be thinking of pleasing your senses, but you have to sometimes make home offerings in accordance with your health condition, for your diet, which is a little bit different. But as far as the temple, it has to be really strict consciousness. Is Radharani's kitchen. You're assisting Radharani. So anyway, Madhavendra Puri got ashamed, and so he just left the temple area, went to the market, and was dozing in one of the stalls or something like that. And the priest of the deity of Gopinath had a dream, and the priest was told by the deity that I have actually stolen some sweet rice. I've hidden it under my garment, and you should go into the altar find Madhavendra Puri, who I stole it for, and he's in the market, and bring him the sweet rice. So the priest did that, and the priest went to the market, and he said, Madhavendra Puri, the most fortunate person. And Prabhupada comments that both the priest and Madhavendra Puri were pure devotees. Because if the priest tells you that, if you're a pujari and the pujari reveals to you some secret like that, you pretty much got it made in devotional service. So Madhavendra Puri took this pot of sweet rice and ate and washed the pot and also ate pieces of this pot each day. Then, eventually, he left Ramuna on the way to Jagannath Puri. He collected camphor and sandalwood, and there he got 2 servants to bring the sandalwood and also the paperwork for the government because there were taxes and everything like that. And they reached Ramuna on the way going back to Govardhan. And when he reached Ramuna, Gopal appeared to him in a dream. That's Gopal in Govardhan. And said, I've already accepted this sandalwood. Thank you for doing this. I don't want you to take the trouble of walking all across India. So use on Gopinath, and it will be the same as using it on me. Gopal wanted to save Madhavendra Puri trouble because of the Muslims who would attack or the traveling carrying this heavy burden. So, subscribe, Madhavendra Puri never begged anything to eat. There's a verse spoken by Madhavendra Puri specifically as he was leaving this world, which is actually a verse spoken by Srimati Radharani. And I'm going to read that verse. Ai dena dayadra nata he mathura nata kadavalokyase haddaya twara loka katara noita ramyati kya karomyaham. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? So this is one of the verses that Madhavendra Puri was reciting as he left this world. And as I mentioned before, Ishwara Puri, his dear disciple, was assisting him in cultivating that particular mood of vipralampa, and also assisting him physically, Bapu Seva. And it's described that he took on the position of very menial servant of his spiritual master. And, obviously, if someone's getting ready to leave this world, there's all sorts of, bodily stuff that's going on. And so he, even though he's a great exalted Vaishnava, he served his spiritual master in a very humble way. Samit Pani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So therefore he got blessed. And Ramchandra Puri got cursed, and he became, actually Ramchandra Puri was told by his guru, after he offended his guru, that I have not reached Mathura and this rascal has come to harass me. Get out of here. I don't want to see your face again. So the last words that he remembered, or that were spoken by his guru to him, were, "You rascal, get the hell out of here." Nice to remember one spiritual master like that. And therefore he offended Lord Chaitanya. Ramchandra Puri offended Lord Chaitanya, offended so many Vaishnavas by setting them up in certain ways, forcing them to eat too much, not forcing them, but cajoling them so they would eat too much, and then criticize them for eating too much. Okay, so that's Madhavendra Puri. Unless there's any questions, we're going to go on and continue reading from the last chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Questions? Hmm. I it's just sort of an ISKCON standard that we talk about. That's interesting. Well, first of all, if you read the okay, some of the Goswami literatures, I forget the exact reference right now. They would always call when Mother Yashoda would always call for Krishna for sorry Radharani to come from Barshana to cook for Krishna. Yeah, but the person who was Radharani. Yeah, so is Radharani's kitchen. Yeah, so we're more concerned with the chief cook. Yeah, that. Yeah, yeah. Yashoda Mai brought Radharani there because it was said that what is it? Anyone who eats the cooking of Radharani will be healthy and live a long life. Yeah. So, I mean, that was essential. So, I mean, just like yeah, just like we may have a temple president and everything in the temple, but the person who's cooking the offering, that's the important thing. How's that sound? No, the person who's actually cooking the offering is not necessarily more important than the temple president, but more important at that particular moment for feeding his devotees. No, that I wouldn't say that either. My understanding it is right around his kitchen because because Yashoda, she was actually basically doing the cooking for Krishna whenever Krishna ate, and one's assisting Srimati Radharani. I mean, I'd have to look it up, but anyway, it's my realization. Sorry about that. It's my realization. There may not be any Shastric reference, but in the Goswami literature, you have Yashoda Mai. Well, in charge of the kitchen, but it's Radharani cooking in the kitchen. So who's actually in charge? The boss or the cook? Anyway, whatever. All right. We got different sampradayas. So anyway, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I mean, Rohini is in charge, just like we may have a head cook, but whoever is cooking, that determines how the offering is going to taste. How's that sound? Like every day, I try to get some remnants of the Mahaprasadam, and there's certain cooks that I like the best, but the head cook remains the same. Who's the head cook here? I don't know. Anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, Radharani is cooking for Krishna. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, in our sampradaya. Well, he's not in our sampradaya. You know, I've clarified that point before. In the Madhva sampradaya. That was before you came in. I actually clarified that point. In the Madhva sampradaya, because the Madhvites, I mean, they don't really talk about Srimati Radharani. I mean, they may mention, but it's not something that's so central to their presentation of the philosophy, particularly the Tattvavadis. All right. Does that answer the question? Yeah. Well, certainly within the Barka Sampradaya. Yeah, you got the Alvars. So, yeah, but no, I don't remember. Yeah, Chandidas, Jayadev, and Bilvamangal Thakur. Bilvamangal Thakur, Krishna Karnamrita. He, Lord Chaitanya would regularly read the Krishna Karnamrita. Um, I don't know. I think you have to ask Lord Chaitanya that. His appearance day is this Sunday, so you can ask him on Sunday on his birthday when he appears. So, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that too. That's why I clarified as far as Sampradaya. Because I mean, the Chaitanya Charitamrita specifically mentions whenever, let's say, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in touch with someone in ecstatic love, he understands he has a connection with Madhavendra Puri. So that's my understanding from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a Sampradaya. I mean, obviously there's information about Radharani previously. I mean, even in some of the other Vedic literatures, there's actually information of the Puranas, what to speak of the Puranas. However, it wasn't really emphasized in our Sampradaya. I'm sure that there was information, because in different Puranas you actually have even Radharani's name mentioned. Of course, not in the Bhagavad Purana, but in some of the other Puranas, Radharani's name is mentioned. Okay, any other questions before we go on to Chaitanya hopefully finishing up this last chapter in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're talking about the Shikshashtaka. And the last verse we read, if Krishna, attracted by the beauty of some other woman, wants to enjoy with her, but is unhappy because he cannot get her, I fall down at her feet, catch her hand, and bring her to Krishna to engage her for his happiness. And the next text is, Kanta Krishnae Karirosha, Krishna Paya Santosha, Sukha Paya Tadana Bratsane, Yata Yogya Karimana, Krishna Tate Sukha Pana, Chade Mana Upa Sadhane. When a beloved gopi shows symptoms of anger toward Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Indeed, he is pleased when chastised by such a gopi. She shows her pride suitably, and Krishna enjoys that attitude. Then she gives up her pride with a little endeavor. Then, say nari jiye kene, Krishna marma yata jane, tabu Krishna kare gara rosha, nijasuke mane kaja. Vaduka Tara Shire Bhaja. Krishnara Matra Chaye Santosha. Why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still shows her deep anger toward him? She is interested in her own happiness. I condemn such a woman to be struck on the head with a thunderbolt. For we simply want the happiness of Krishna. I mean, this is Srimati Radharani, of course, Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Srimati Radharani's intense desire for Krishna to be happy. Like anyone who impedes Krishna's happiness, they should die immediately. It's struck on the head with a thunderbolt. I mean, this is love. Not that literally she's going to have people die who don't want to serve Krishna. I mean, we'd all keel over pretty quick. Not all of us. I would probably keel over pretty quickly. So, purport, a devotee was satisfied only with his own sense gratification certainly falls down from the service of Krishna. Wow. That's the danger of sakama, devotional service. Being attracted by material happiness, he later joins the Prakrita Sahajas, who are considered to be non-devotees. Heavy purport by Prabhupada. It's in text 56. Ye gopi mora kare dveshe, Krishnera kare santoshe. Yare kare abhilas. We tara kara gara yana. Tare sevan dashi hana. Tabi mora sukera ulas. If a gopi envious of me satisfies Krishna, and Krishna desires her, I shall not hesitate to go to her house and become her maidservant, for then my happiness will be awakened. In other words, only Krishna's happiness is the point. Even if it causes me unhappiness, my unhappiness is my happiness if it gives Krishna happiness. Beautiful verses. This is Lord Chaitanya's mood. That's why we're reading this. Kushti viprera ramani, pativrata shiromani, pati lagi kaila yasyara seva, stambila suryera gati, jiaila mrita pati, tushta kaila mukya tina deva. The wife of a Brahmin, it's a famous story from the Markandeya Purana actually. The wife of a Brahmin suffering from leprosy manifested herself as the topmost of all chaste women by serving a prostitute to satisfy her husband. She thus stopped the movement of the sun, brought her dead husband back to life, and satisfied the three principal demigods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. So Prabhupada actually tells this story in the purport. I can read it. It's actually a beautiful story. And it's connected with the Ramayan story of the birth of Sugriva and Bali, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But the Aditya Purana, Markandeya Purana, and Padma Purana tell about a Brahmin who was suffering from leprosy but had a very chaste and faithful wife. He desired to enjoy the company of a prostitute, and therefore his wife went to her and became her maidservant just to draw her attention for his service. When the prostitute agreed to associate with him, the wife brought her leprotic husband. When that leper, the sinful son of a Brahmin, saw the chastity of his wife, he finally abandoned his sinful intentions. While coming home, however, he touched the body of Markandeya Rishi, who thus cursed him to die at sunrise because of her chastity. The woman was very powerful. Therefore, when she heard about the curse, she vowed to stop the sunrise. Because of her strong determination to serve her husband, the three deities, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, were very happy, and they gave her the benediction that her husband would be cured and brought back to life. This example is given herein to emphasize that a devotee should engage himself exclusively for the satisfaction of Krishna, without personal motives. That will make his life successful. That's the application. Krishna mora jivana, Krishna mora pranadana, Krishna mora pranera parana, hridaya uparidaran, seva kari stuka karan, mora sadarahe dhyana. Krishna is my life and soul. Krishna is the treasure of my life. Indeed, Krishna is the very life of my life. Wow. I therefore keep him always in my heart and try to please him by rendering service. That is my constant meditation. Actually, this we should actually post something like this. Should be our mission statement, isn't it? Krishna is my life and soul. Krishna is the treasure of my life. Indeed, Krishna is the very life of my life. I therefore keep him always in my heart and try to please him by rendering service. That is my constant meditation. So we have to end now. Thank you very much. And what? Yeah. It's all in Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalayataksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Saminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurvani Praja Nivesesha Shunyavani Paschachade Zatarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurabhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurabhakta Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Run, I'm gonna get nine and run, I'm gonna get nine to run a day. Run, I'm gonna get nine and run, I'm gonna get nine to run a day. Run, run, Rane, 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 Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Pada. All glorious to Shri Guru Govinda. Bhava Mahadvagni Nirapanam Shaya Karam Nandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Pranamritaspadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Jayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Baudan Nita Sarva Shaktis Tatrapi Tani Matasmarane Nakala Etadrisi Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Kudai Marie Shani Raga Sundarim Kavidam Vadri Mama Janmani Janmanishvare Bhavatar Bhaktiridhoyakitwaye Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishme Bhavam Buddho Kripya Tavapada Pankaja Sita Duli Sadrisham Jantaya Nayan Galura Shrudaraya Vadanam Gadgada Hridya Gira Pulaka Nijatam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishiti Jugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravishaitam Shunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidamename Ashli Shiva Padapat Nanashdumam Darshanam Marmatam Kurotuva Yatatata Vavadatu Lambato Matprananatas to save an opera. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtanan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of the body stand in the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling the separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm all feeling awakened in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shikshashika ki jai. Haribol. And Krishna's dressed very beautifully today by Champaka.